bit of a pushover, and I didn't really know how to stand up for myself.
I was making excuses, oh yeah, it's part of the process of bulking and cutting, but I just lost a lot of discipline.
She was like, you need to go and seek help. You need to do X, Y, Z. So when I sought therapy, went through a couple of different therapists until I found someone that suited me.
Welcome to the Rain From Within show. I'm Shane, your host. Everybody in life has a story, and sometimes the hardest battles aren't visible from the outside. Today's guest is Sam Sparke. He's an absolute beast. I've known Sam for the last 5 years. He's been representing strength since 2021 in Australia. He is one of the top ambassadors in terms of he owns so many products from us. He's an absolute beast. And beyond just being a supporter of strength, he is the eldest of 3 with what most would call a solid upbringing. But behind the scenes, he wrestled with depression for years without asking for help. He shares what it took to finally seek support, how inconsistency in training and nutrition slowly caught up to him, and how a serious hand injury became the turning point that forced him to confront both his mindset and his habits. So in this convo, we're going to go in depth on also United States versus Australia, kind of the big differences there. Some of that are going to shock you. We're going to talk about mental health, identity after injury, discipline, and what it looks like to rebuild confidence from rock bottom, one decision at a time. So if you haven't already, make sure you like the episode. If you enjoy, comment your biggest takeaway and share it with somebody who needs to hear it. I know you will enjoy this special episode with Sam Sparke. Enjoy the show. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, Sam Sparke in the building.
Yep.
Dude, so we got the same birthday and same initials, right?
Yeah.
What's your middle name?
I mean, it was just destined to meet someday or another.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we always joke he's like my bro from another mother, and yeah, he's from the down under. So it's 4 o'clock where he's at. And it's 4 o'clock where I'm at, 8 a.m. where Sam's at. And so you're already living in the future, bro. It's February 11th, right?
Yep, February 11th.
Dude, it's the 10th year. How's the day so far? Pretty good?
It's good. It's wet. It's wet at the moment. We've got a bit of rain coming. We've got like 60 or 80 mil for the forecast for the week, so it's going to be pretty wet, but that's all right.
Yeah, man. A little wetness never hurt anybody.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Let's go. Dude, I want to dive in so much about you. One thing as well about us that's similar is you're the oldest of 3. And you mentioned you had a good upbringing. When did you first notice things internally weren't as solid as they looked on the outside?
I guess, everyone goes through a rough time at high school. I think that's just a part of the process, and it's just about how you deal with it. I didn't deal with it particularly well in high school. Through years 11 and 12 were a struggle with my mental health, struggle with lack of friends, that type of thing. But after high school, I kept the same couple of buddies that haven't left. And it's been pretty good ever since. Out of high school, I met my fiance, which is Kelly. She's just up there above me. So, we've been together for 6 years now. We're getting married in 12 weeks. So
wow.
May the 5th, we're getting married. Yeah. So, it's exciting starting my own family. That's something that I've always wanted to do. Like, that's my number one goal in life is just to be a dad.
Ooh.
So, I mean, that's... Yeah.
You'll be a good dad, bro. I can tell.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Let's go, dude. You're way ahead of where I'm at for, like we mentioned, same birthdays, both born 2/22/2000, same initials, SS. But you're out here getting married in a few weeks. Well, it's going to be here, a couple months, but that's awesome. And as long as I've known you, I've remembered Kelly. Like, I've always known that you guys have been together. So you've known strength. Do you remember like how you first found the brand? Was it TikTok 2020?
It was on TikTok. Yeah, man, I was just scrolling through, the algorithm chucked your face on my screen, and I was like, I went onto your page. I saw you had only like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 followers at most. And I was like, oh, I'll scroll through, and I saw it was a small brand. You were looking for ambassadors was how it was, and I think I reached out, and then the rest is history, man.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Yes. I will tell you, like, internally, a little behind the scenes, that was when we were running, well, we weren't even running ads. We were just getting people all over the world finding us, because our ads right now, they're targeted just to the United States. But that year that we got connected, I remember we got products sent to like 20 different countries. And the fact that you're in Australia on the other side of the world and you support the brand more than many people that I've lived next to and went to school with. And dude, it's just crazy when you start something, what you really realize, and you find out who your real friends are and who's really going to support you.
Yeah.
Dude, like, genuinely, you're one of the coolest dudes I've met. And it's unfortunate we're not neighbors, because I'm sure we'd be playing golf and hitting lifts all the time. But yeah, dude, Sam Sparke, absolute beauty. I want to dive a little bit more into the high school before we move forward. So can you tell me, what was that like, struggling with depression from the late high school years into your early 20s a bit? If you could walk me through a little bit more of like what that season was like. And then
I guess it was a lot to do with I got bullied a lot in high school. I guess I was a bit of a pushover, and I didn't really know how to stand up for myself, so I was just an easy target for a few people. So I was just battling through the days, getting through just the week at school, and then hanging out with my closer friends on weekends and whatnot. So yeah, it was tough. I wasn't actively, I wasn't proactive in my search for help. I didn't seek therapy, or I didn't confide in anyone. I barely confided in my parents. I kind of was just like, I'm a man. I got to do this myself, because if I don't, it makes me weak. And I think it's obviously now it's a stereotype that is getting suppressed. I think with all of the awareness and whatnot around men's mental health in particular is, this was almost 10 years ago. We've been out of high school for almost a decade now, which is a bit scary. So almost 10 years ago, it was like, there was still that negative connotation attached to poor men's mental health and depression and whatnot. I just didn't seek help, didn't talk to anyone about it. The first real person that I did talk about it was Kelly when we started going out. It was probably only 12 or 18 months into us dating, so I didn't actively open up until we were quite serious into our relationship. And then she was like, you need to go and seek help. You need to do X, Y, Z. So when I sought therapy, went through a couple of different therapists until I found someone that suited me. I saw them for on and off for about 12 months. Like, I wasn't as proactive as I probably should have been. But I think leaving the quote unquote negativity that is high school, I think does a lot of people wonders. I think, it's such a toxic environment. It's one of the most toxic environments to be in.
It's the worst, dude.
Yeah.
Think about where you're at now versus high school, man. It's a completely different life. I'm totally with you there.
Yeah, it's been, everyone struggles. We struggle from time to time. I think that's just going with the ebbs and flow of life. But having a strong community and network of people to confide in and whatnot definitely makes the world a difference. So
absolutely. And just to supplement what you're saying as well, dude, I swear we're the same person, bro. Those years, junior year, senior year, those are some of the worst mental health times in my life as well. And it's just, you don't know what you don't know. You think that's all life is, especially being a junior or senior in school and early on. You don't know the life we know today as we're about to be 26 years old. And you just go through life and you realize what you thought what these kids were saying and such was like make or breaking your self-worth, and then you get out of that, you get the help you need, you get Kelly to support you as well and help you realize, wow, like this is something that I really want to check out, I want to master. So once you did get the help, once you got the help, how did your relationship with yourself start to change day by day?
I guess I found purpose within myself. I think that's a big thing that people struggling with mental health and depression struggle with. They feel like when they get up out of bed in the morning, they're like, what am I contributing to the world today? I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. Sure, I'm not saying that's the only reason. There's a whole plethora of reasons as to why people suffer, but at least I think that's what I did. I think I was put down a lot in my early teens and late teens, and I struggled to find that self-worth. So Elle, especially, she helped me find my sense of self-worth, and, becoming one of the senior guys at work's definitely helped, because a lot of junior staff come to me with questions and asking how to do things, and I think that's helped me continue on the upward trends and whatnot. I think finding that self-purpose was definitely a big step in the right direction. Yeah.
Let's go. Good, man. Yes. So let's talk about training a little bit. You have described yourself as a little inconsistent with your training and nutrition for a long time, but why do you think that consistency was harder for you in the past versus now?
I don't think I was instilled with the correct direction that a lot of people do need when they start training early on. Like, I didn't see the results, so I was just kind of going there just to get out and exercise and whatnot. You feel good after a good lift, and then, I guess I wasn't determined and motivated enough to really, really stick to it strictly and see the results come after that. So I think that's why it was probably a big part of why I was so inconsistent with my training early on. And also because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. When I first started, when I was like 17 and 18, I was just like, just seeing stuff on social media. Yeah, I'll give this a try. And then, not going through the motions on getting stronger and whatnot. I think that's probably a big part of why I was so inconsistent, and I didn't have anyone to keep me in check either. Like, it was just myself. Like, I didn't have any buddies that were going to the gym at the time. It was just, me, myself and I, which a lot of people do, and a lot of people do it successfully. I think that was just one thing that I wasn't able to do as well as other people were.
Yes, for sure. So I want to dive further into training in it a little bit. I want to cover, can you let everybody know, like, what do you do for work? Like, tell us about your schedule. Dude, your work schedule itself is nuts, because I'll let you tell it, and kind of just like, how did those longer shifts affect your eating habits?
Yeah, so I'm a scrub nurse. So I work in a private hospital, helping surgeons with the operations on patients and whatnot. So I think over in the States, you guys call them scrub techs. So that's basically what I do. But in Australia, you need to be either a registered nurse or an enrolled nurse to do that. It's not something that you can get like a quick certificate and go into that industry that way. So that's what I do. So my day-to-day consists of replacing people's joints, fixing ACLs, fixing people's broken hips, that type of thing. So I predominantly work a lot of late shifts. So I start at 11:30, 12, and then I work until the work's done. That's the one downside of working privately. So at the public system, there's always people to send you home on time, you get your breaks, whatnot. And there's, unfortunately, working in the private sector, there's some days where I will start at 12 and I won't get to eat anything until I leave at 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
So that's pretty hard. I guess that's why I've been so inconsistent with my diet, because I'm like, I don't want to, it's 11 o'clock at night. I don't want to heat up my food when I get home. I just want to quickly grab something and eat it on the way home so I can get into bed and get up the next morning and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I guess that's probably one of the harder things when it's come to my pretty poor nutrition in the past. I'm not saying a cheat meal isn't healthy in a balanced diet here and there, but when I was getting it multiple times a week because I was working so much, and I was like, there's a McDonald's up the road from my work, so I just whip through there on the way home, and
Yep.
I finished eating with them, and then I can just get straight into bed and get up the next day and do it all over again.
I think a lot of people listening right now are probably in a similar situation where they work a lot. They, the convenience of just stopping at a fast food spot. What have you done personally to fight that? Do you meal prep at all, or what's your go-to?
Yeah, so I'm sure you'll cover it, but over the last 12 months, I've lost 40 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been, can't remember what the conversion is in pounds. It's something like 90 something pounds. I popped it in the notes.
Yeah.
So I just took my approach to my nutrition a bit differently. So I would eat one of my biggest meals 20 minutes before I go to work. So it's chock full of protein, chock full of fiber. So then I stay really full for hours and hours and hours after that. And when we get really, really busy, I don't often notice that I'm hungry, because it's just okay, we've got 5 more operations to do. It's 6 o'clock at night. Let's, keep churning them over so we can get the patients what they need and go home.
Yeah.
And so then I would they just take another meal, put it in the fridge at work, and then on the rare occasion that I did get a meal break, I would just go and quickly scoff that down and then go straight back into it. But I think that's helped. So in the weight loss, so I train hard in the morning. I'd come home, smash a protein shake, and then I would delay eating until just before I went to work. So because I usually train really early in the morning,
3 a.m., right?
People have seen on the app that I'm usually in the gym by 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning, most mornings, if I can get some sleep. So this morning, because I got home at midnight, I decided I'll just, I won't go to the gym off 3.5 hours of sleep. I'll sleep in and I'll go to the gym before work. So then I would get home at 6, smash a protein shake, and then I'd wait till about 11:15 to eat, have that really big meal, go to work, and then I'd be set for a good 4, 5, 6 hours, and then eat when I can after that. So I think that's
good.
I just took the approach differently. I know that a lot of trainers and coaches say, you need to be eating meal every 3 or 4 hours, but in the field that I'm in, that's impossible. You don't have the 5 to 10 minutes to eat a meal in between procedures. We've got 5 minutes to clean the theatre and bring the next patient in and get the next thing started. So that's been pretty hard. But, I worked it out. I've been successful. I've lost a shitload of weight.
Yeah, dude.
And, just trying to lock in for these last 12 weeks and get a bit more ripped before the wedding, and
let's go. That's the ultimate motivation right there. I love it.
Yeah,
40 kilos, man, massive props to you. That is insane. So how long did you lose 40 kilos? In a year, you said?
Yeah, in about a year. I didn't take it.
That's great.
I didn't have a time frame set. I didn't go from however many calories I was eating and then go to 1,600. So then it just dropped in, 3 or 4 months. I didn't think that was going to be a healthy way to approach food, because then I think I would have been like, I can only eat this little in a day. And I think that just would have caused a whole world of issues. So I just took my time, I just tried to train as consistent as I could, 3 or 4 times per week. Sometimes is all I could do, even though it would be nice to get in, 5 or 6 times a week. But, I just took it as I could. yeah, and just slowly worked it down over 12 months. It was nice seeing all the weight
Yeah.
come off, this, the scale, the number on the scale go down, and yeah, I
That's
mean,
so
just
rewarding.
looking at those photos that I took on the day that I decided, yeah, no, today's the day. I'm gonna try my hardest to lose as much weight as I can, until I get to a point where when I look in the mirror, I'm happy with what is there. Didn't have a
Okay.
number set, and yeah.
Yeah, we gotta do a little blast from the past. So sorry I jumped around a little bit based on your story, but I want to go back quite a bit. Like, take me back to when you decided enough's enough. But even before that, what led to it? You mentioned to me that you had an accident with your dad, and that was a huge turning point. Can you walk me through what that moment changed for you?
Yeah, so we only just moved into the house I'm in now. We were doing some early on renovations before we moved in, and we were cutting some timber with a circular saw, and it hit a knot in the wood. I was holding the back end of it, and Dad was cutting it. It shot out of his hand backwards towards me. I tried my hardest to get out of the way, and it just clipped me in the finger just here. So I ruptured the tendon that runs along your finger here. So that put me out for 6 weeks, but I had longer off work because I was just about to go on 6 weeks holidays. So it happened like 3 weeks before that happened. So then my planned 6 weeks holiday turned into almost 12 weeks off work, so almost 3 months off work.
Wow.
And, I couldn't tie my shoes by myself, couldn't put a pair of pants on by myself, couldn't shave by myself because I'm right-hand dominant. And, I was so heavily reliant on Kel to help me with these things. I just lost all motivation to, I'm like, I've got a hand that doesn't work,
Yeah.
can't go to the gym, can't lift, can't X, Y, Z. But, just fell into a bit of a pit, and I didn't get out of it until one day I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I got big, like I got really, really big.
Big boy.
And I think that was the turning point when I had my shirt off and I looked in the mirror and I was just like, what has happened? This just blew out so much worse than I thought it was going to be. And I didn't even really think that I was eating that poorly until that day. It was somewhere in June of 2024, I think. 2024, I think. That I looked in the mirror and I was just like, yeah, that's...
Didn't recognize yourself.
Didn't recognize myself. Yeah. So then I logged in from there, and I had photos 12 months later, which I'm sure you'll pop up, of what I looked like, and I'm like, that's where I want to be at.
Yes.
So,
yeah, man. Wow. I went the last 6 days not being able to lift because I tweaked my back, which you gave me a lot of advice on Snap. Appreciate that. And I thought that was almost an identity crisis. 12 weeks. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. 3 months was a long time.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that, but it makes you probably appreciate where you're at now and where you're going so much more now that you hit the scale. That's how I was when I bulked up to 200 pounds and I didn't recognize myself either. I thought I was making excuses, oh yeah, it's part of the process of bulking and cutting, but I just lost a lot of discipline. But not being able to use your whole hand is a different level of valid excuses of how you get to that. So that had to have been a crazy identity shift. And also, your fiance Kelly being able to help you through that. Bless her for being able to be there to help you, like, pull up your pants and stuff. Dude, that'd be crazy. I'd be so mad, like, not being able to do the simple things. So glad things are better now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's go. So as the weight has come off and now that you're chasing strength and definition before your wedding, how does this goal feel different than past fitness goals you've had?
I guess this goal that I've got now requires me to be so much more disciplined than I have been, because as when you start to get a lot lower in weight, you've got to eat less, you've got to be more structured with what goes into your body, you've got to use it for everything that you can, and especially when you're eating less than, 2,000 calories a day and you still got to try and get in a crap load of protein, you've got to make such smart food decisions to be able to, keep full. That's one thing that I've always struggled with because, sure, I'll have a meal, but if I don't feel full, I don't feel satiated. So I'm a big volume eater, and that was a big thing through the 12-month long cut that I was in. I couldn't eat a small little meal and I would just be like, I'm still starving. So volume food was a big thing for me. But yeah, this last is probably going to be another, hopefully 5 or 6 kilos that I want to lose until I'm where I want to be at over these next 12 weeks. It's just that extra bit of discipline that you need to get from a point where you're happy with to a point where you're like, fuck, I look amazing.
Yes.
That's the last little bit.
Yeah, going from like 30 to 25% body weight is very different from going from 10 to 5. It's exponentially
absolutely
more difficult and requires the most pristine tracking, and the protein satiating definitely helps, of course, as you've noticed with being able to handle, I'm also a guy that loves volume. I love being able to eat a lot. This past 2 years in Florida, I was in a deficit because I wanted to look shredded the whole time, but I couldn't gain any muscle. I did an in-body right before I left for Florida and I took one again this past couple weeks, and I weighed the same amount, but I lost like an extra pound or 2 of muscle. That is like no growth in 2 years. I was so upset that now I'm lean bulking, but it's different to be lean, to feel good. I'm happy for you, man. Absolutely. I'm excited for your wedding coming up. All right, man. So with being a part of Strength, because you've been on the team now for almost 5 years and you've seen it evolve, you've seen it change. And when it first started, I was in my apartment dorm, and I think you can give the viewers a little bit of context, hopefully, of like, how did you see the brand back then versus now, if you don't mind me asking, as to what do you like about the community now, and that it hopefully helps keep you accountable when your motivation dips?
Well, I guess going back to when it first started, being out of your dorm room in lacrosse, it was more, I think, just at least from what I was seeing, I wasn't as, actively involved. So, I wasn't over in lacrosse with you. Was more of a, you're just getting out apparel and you're preaching a mission that you want. But fast forward to now, you've got coaches, you've got nutrition plans, you've got people holding each other accountable in this tight-knit community that you've got. And I think seeing that growth from my perspective has been nothing short of incredible, and huge props to you for changing the direction of, just pumping out a drop every, 3 or 4 months and people buying it. Today, got, supplements, coaching, nutrition, training, all these things for people from all walks of life to be able to access. And, it's really embodying the mission more wholly, in my opinion, as to where it was, 5 years ago. And it's been, seeing the journey it's been incredible. And, you should be so incredibly proud of yourself for how far Strength has come out of your dorm room to now you being in Florida, shipping out all these different products, helping people in all walks of life achieve the goals that they have. So huge props to you, Shane.
Much love, brother. Dude, yeah. We've come a long way. And I remember, I don't know why this stands out to me, but I remember one time Kelly reached out to us on Instagram back in like 2022, I think. And it was right around our birthday. And she was like, yo, if you and the core members can get a video made saying happy birthday to Sam, that'd be really cool. And we got that sent out. I don't know why that's a core memory of mine. But that was friggin' awesome, dude. Yeah, Kelly's a beast, man.
She's awesome. Yeah. I'm so blessed to have her in my life. She's just the best. She's everything you could ever want.
I want to, let's dive into that a sec. How did you meet, and what would you tell somebody like myself that I'm starting to get up there a bit with the age, and I'm still looking for that breeding partner.
We met on Tinder.
Okay.
As I think a lot of couples do. Well, I was pretty fresh out of a previous relationship. Mm-hmm. Well, not like super fresh, it was probably 5 or 6 months afterwards when we met. And I just found a best friend in it. We'd talk non-stop, we'd hang out, it was just someone that, just makes your life easy. It's not a chore to do all these things with. And then we, what's the word I'm looking for?
You fell in love?
Yeah, after that, it's just been, I just fell in love with my best friend, and I think that's one thing a lot of people will say, that, you don't actively go out looking for a wife or a husband or whatnot. You just stumble across a best friend, and then that then evolves, because,
that's very well
said.
She's
my best friend, and, she's there with me every step of the way through everything that we go through and everything that she goes through. And yeah, I think that's my one bit of advice. It'll happen when it happens. We stumbled across each other. We weren't actively looking for partners or anything like that, and we just became such good friends, and yeah, we've been inseparable ever since. So
that's beautiful. Yes, friends first. That's the best way to do it now, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I'm way more picky now that we get older, and I'm not on the apps currently, but I'm so glad that you and Kelly found each other on, like you mentioned. So that's really cool. And I've heard a lot of people, they find success that way. I think they say like 60 to 70% of new couples meet online. So
yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's, you don't really meet a lot of people out in bars and pubs and whatnot. I think we're in such a world at the moment of technology and, and screens, that I think a lot of people meet that way and whatnot.
I want to get your opinion on something quick. What are your thoughts on approaching a girl at the gym for getting her number?
Well, I'm probably not the best person to ask, because, I've been with Kel for so long.
What if you saw her?
Yeah. I mean, I think as long as you just do it in a respectful way, and you're not being a creep in the corner, just staring at her doing squats or something, I think that, just striking up a conversation is, it's not out of the ordinary. I think it's something that happens a lot over in the States than in Australia, though, at least from what I see of when I go to the gym and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, I think that whole approaching people in public is
very difficult.
That doesn't really happen a lot in Australia. It's just really strange.
Yeah.
Obviously in bars and whatnot is a bit different. But like when I was single, if I was walking past a girl on the street, I would never think of approaching her and striking up a conversation. But I think it's more normalized over in the States. And
I'm keeping a buck with you, bro. I think it's still in the United States, people still we'd be afraid, man, because these low key, I feel like, obviously, well, I'll just say it how it is. I think normally guys are the ones that would approach a girl versus a girl approaching a guy, regardless of where we're at. But these days, especially, I don't know. I have this idea of like, I'm going to meet my wife at the gym or the church, or just on purpose, in alignment. And I got a crazy story. Well, not really crazy, just a fun fact. I was just at the gym, right? So I was just at the gym a couple hours ago, and I never do this, but I got a girl's number.
Nice, man.
I never do it, dude, but there's no pressure on it. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. But what I did, for people interested in this, like how I did it, was I saw a girl, she was cute, and normally I'm not the guy to do that, but I just, like, we were on the treadmill next to each other, and then I went over, did my workout, and I was like, you know what? I want to get a rep in, because it's more than just getting a girl's number, in my opinion. It's building confidence in yourself that you're an action taker. And so I saw it as like a rep. Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna send it. And so I go up, I'm just like, hey, quick question. Like, and my go-to, I just tried it. I was like, hey, what what brand is that? And I just asked her, like, because she was wearing this really nice, like, shirt. I was like, hey, what brand is that? And then we started talking about strength a little bit. She was wearing Lululemon. I was like, we got to come out with something like that. Just make a small talk. And then, yeah, I was just like, you know what? Like, it doesn't matter if this doesn't go anywhere, but, you know, do you want my number? Yeah, of course. Boom. Case closed.
I think I think a big thing is the fear of rejection. I think that's such a monumental thing to overcome. And I think that's a big thing, at least in going up to people in public. You know, you've got that fear in the back of your mind, you know, what if they reject me? What if they do this? What if they do that? And there's a lot of things that I've seen online and whatnot of people going through like rejection therapy, where they go through and they know that the answer is going to be no, but they're like, there's a small 1% chance that it could be yes. Like I saw this one lady that goes through it and she asks for discounts every time she goes and buys something or stays in a hotel or whatnot. And she knows that there's like a 95% chance the answer is going to be no, but she's still getting out of her comfort zone and still asking these questions for that, you know, that small chance that the answer could be yes. And I think that's it's an overcoming that fear of it. I think it's a big thing in approaching people and having conversations is that rejection.
Yes, 100%. That is the moral of this story. Is it's way more than just getting a number. It's the fear of rejection. And so many people, I agree with you, they're held to the belief that, oh, worst case scenario, they say no. But we see that no as something that's so negative, and it's going to hurt my ego so much that I'm not willing to go out of my way and put myself out there. We've done a lot of things in life. You know, I think I could get into details on what the hardest decisions of my life were, but some of them, for example, you know, jumping out of a plane, skydiving, and starting a business and writing a book, like all these things, they don't have to be like that, but in your own way. Most viewers out there have experienced something that they were afraid of initially doing, and then they do it, and the competence builds your confidence. So even if that thing with that girl goes nowhere, I'm going into the rest of my week. It's only Tuesday. I'm going into the rest of my week thinking, hey, we're going to lock in, or we're going to execute. This is execution season. So you get it, bro. That's really cool that people do the little exposure therapy on even the 1 to 5% success rate. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Dude, let's talk about the book really quick. So I had to like give you your flowers here. Sam was the first person to read Scars to Strength as a rough draft, and you gave me really good feedback. I want to hear from you when you were first reading it, and just in general, what is your favorite chapter?
What is my? I can't remember exactly what it was, what the number was. It was closer to the end because I remember I sent you this whole paragraph saying that it was the best thing I've read in such a long time. I'll see if I can find it.
I know what it is. Do you want me to refresh it?
Yeah.
You said it was law number 20. It was Master the Mundane.
Yes, it was. Yes, that's what it was. I think just that whole, you know, I'm struggling with my words. The pursuit of not being ordinary. I think that's a thing that a lot of people should strive for, because, you know, the more complacency that you have in your life, there's that potential that you're not going to have a fulfilling life. And I think that chapter just stuck out to me the most, because I'm like, that's where I was. I was just going through the motions of life, and then I'm like, you know what, I need purpose, and I chased it, and I achieved it. You know, I don't have an ordinary life. You know, I'm getting married, I'm going to have kids, you know, doing really well at work, you know, got a recent promotion, that type of thing. But the book as a whole, I think a lot of people would benefit from reading, just because it gives you a different approach to the mindset as opposed to a lot of people have. That's the biggest thing that I found reading through the book.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't think of it like that. I didn't think of it like that. You know, it was just a different approach to life, and I think it's something that everyone should take the time just to read it. You know, it's
Appreciate that.
yeah. No, I think you stepping out of your comfort zone and writing a book. When you messaged me that, I'm like, what the fuck? Shane wrote a book, and then I said, I'd be happy to read it, and I read it, and I'm like, this is not what I was expecting, but in a good way.
Appreciate that, man.
Props to you, and people go and buy the book.
Let's go. Amazon. Appreciate that a lot, bro. And yeah, I just had to mention that the fact that you were the first reader, because that just says so much about you, man. You're one of the people with the most strength products supporting since day one in Australia. And I said at the beginning, I'm going to say it again here. You're on the other side of the world, but you're supporting this more than people that are even in the same city as me sometimes, because I just think that's so cool. I think that's just a harsh reality that a lot of business owners face, and or just people in general, when they try to do something new. You're going to see crazy mad support sometimes for people that you'll never meet, which is really cool. So I'm not, but let's talk about Australia for a sec, just because a lot of the viewers are from the United States here. They have questions for you about Australia. Like, what do you think are like the biggest differences? Have you ever been to the United States? You've been here a couple times, haven't you? No,
I've never.
You've thought about it though, right?
No, I've talked about it. Yeah, I've talked about it. But no, I've never been to the States. In what way do you want to know about?
Well, I want to know first, because it's very common. Like, how often do you see like a kangaroo?
Well, I'm not necessarily like, I'm not in a big city, but I'm not like a small country town. But you see them everywhere.
You see them everywhere?
We got a lot more wallabies around my town than kangaroos, but as soon as you start driving on the highways out, wallabies are just like a smaller version of a kangaroo.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But as soon as you get out of the town that I'm in, you see them everywhere. They're just in paddocks, they're in fields, on the highway, just everywhere. It's not as deadly as a lot of connotations are with Australia, but sure,
Yeah.
I might not go. I'll go a week without seeing a snake or a massive spider, but that's just how we grew up. You just leave them be, and they'll just leave you be. It's where I'm from in Queensland, I've never seen real snow either. So when you guys go through winter, you go through winter. A lot in your Central America and whatnot. Obviously now down in Florida, you won't get as much snow. But further down south, we get snow. Our summer is through Christmas. So our Christmases are really, really fucking hot. We had a big heat wave through Christmas where I think the average temperature was like 34 degrees Celsius with the humidity was pretty awful as well. It's not quite like, I think it's 90 something degrees. So it's pretty hot, but it's not like excruciating. And there's some places in Australia that get up to 40 or 50 degrees Celsius, which is like 120 something degrees Fahrenheit. It's just nuts. But
different weather.
It's a great place to live, especially when you go to the coast and whatnot. Everyone's just super laid back and super chill, and it's great. I can't complain. Well, I've only ever known living here, so.
You're in Queensland, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, that's like the biggest connotation I think from outside looking in is we think that it's very dangerous. We're like, oh gosh, like spiders, snakes everywhere. Have you ever had any like close calls where you're like, holy crap, this spider was like super close to me? Or what's like the dangerous thing there? Probably snakes. Yeah,
snakes for sure. I mean, I don't think anyone in Australia has died from a spider bite since like 1970 something. If you get bitten by a spider, you just go to the ER and they just give you the doses of drugs that you need and you're fine. But yeah, the biggest thing is snakes. We don't get them super bad where I am, but we've got a big thing in Australia is that you can't like let your lawn in your garden get too overgrown, because especially when it's hot, the snakes just go straight in there, and you don't want to be in the middle of mowing your lawn and chop up a snake, or it'll just jump out at you and bite you on the leg, and then that's when you're up shit creek and you've got to seek help quickly.
Yes. Got you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, snakes, man. Holy crap.
There's been a few times where I've been gardening and there has been not a massive snake because they're a bit more rural than where I am. But we were talking about this at work yesterday where was one of the doctors. He because he kind of lives on, we call it an escarpment. It's like a pretty, because we're on the top of a hill. He lives in a very heavily like forested area, and he gets snakes all the time. So he's got to call snake catchers to come and get them. But they're mostly just pythons, so they're mostly pretty harmless. But
still big and scary.
Can be absolutely
cool. Let's go, bro. Yeah. Do you got any questions about the U.S.? What do y'all think of us over here?
I really only see and hear about what I hear in the media, which at the moment isn't anything great with the whole ICE situation and blah blah blah. But I don't want to get into anything too political because that's just not what I'm about. But yeah, I want to go to Florida one day. Absolutely. I've heard that Florida is a really nice place. Granted, it's, you got hurricanes and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't really have too many questions. I guess the one thing is that in where I am, we have a fair amount of like fast food chains and whatnot, but I can imagine you can't really go driving anywhere without seeing. I guess that's the big stereotype.
Oh yeah, fast foods here.
So many fast food chains everywhere, and
oh dude,
where I'm at, we've only got like KFC, McDonald's, Subway. We've got Hungry Jack's, which is Burger King, but we don't have anything like Five Guys or Chick-fil-A or
Chick-fil-A
Wendy's or
like that. So, dude, so you only hear about it. You've only heard about Wendy's and stuff. Holy crap, dude. If and when you come to the United States, I'm taking you to all those places. Dude, they're so good. Culver's is a really good one in Wisconsin and Florida. They're only in those two states, I believe. But Culver's is a go-to. Chick-fil-A is my probably favorite fast food. We got like Taco Bell, and I used to do that a lot in college. Not so much anymore. Arby's. You don't want to get caught going to Arby's, though. No offense. Subway, obviously, I think I told you this, but I used to work at Subway, so I'm a big Subway fan.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Subway's cool, bro.
I think you did. Yeah, I think you sent me something not long ago.
It's one of those things that you enjoy it, you work at it, and now it's almost like you've had it too much that you don't go there anymore. I never go to Subway anymore, but I used to love it, dude. I get all the cookies and free cookies at the end of the night, and it was a chill job. I was like 16, but. Yeah, I would say there's a lot of fast food here. Just in the because I commute to and from the office, and on my drive to work, there's a McDonald's, there's a Chick-fil-A, there's an Arby's, there's a Subway, there's two Subways, there's a lot of different restaurants. Like there's this thing called Texas Roadhouse that's really common as well. It's like it's so good. It's like a steakhouse pretty much. There's this really... Do you guys like sushi in Australia?
Yeah, we've got a lot of sushi chains we're in.
Like a Shogun?
In town. Hey?
Like Shogun?
We don't have anything like chain-wise. It's just like they're all about the same. They're just all trains and whatnot. But Kel and I, we get sushi pretty frequently. That's our go-to,
Does everybody have cars in Australia? Everybody got a driver's license and everything?
Yeah. You get your license when you're 16.
Okay.
And going through the process, I think it's a little bit different. You got to drive you've got to get 120 hours of like practice driving with a fully licensed adult.
That's a lot.
To then get from we call it our L's, which is our learners, to get to our provisional license, which is we've got two stages of provisional license. So you go 12 months on your provisional 1, then 12 months on your 12 months or 2 years on your provisional 2, and then you can get to your unrestricted license.
Holy crap.
So it's a big phase to to go through. I think just from what I see, you guys just kind of get your learner's permit and then that's it. After that, we go through the whole phases, and our blood alcohol limit's lower than you guys. We can only go to 0.05 is the legal limit. When you're on your learners and your 2 provisionals, it's got to be 0, otherwise you lose your license and you get a pretty hefty fine. Yeah. Oh, no mobile phones. You can't use that. That's illegal in the car.
Oh.
You get over a $1,000 fine if you get caught using your phone on the road.
Okay, so obviously, like, you have it in your pocket, but you just can't text and drive.
Yeah, so you can either have it in your pocket or in a cradle, like on a quad lock or something
That's really strict.
on the windscreen, but you can't touch it. As soon as you get seen touching it, that's $1,000 fine, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking up a couple different differences of Australia versus the US right now. It says that you guys build your homes with brick, not wood.
Yeah, I think from the most part, brick's pretty common, but a lot of places kind of use like what we call a timber cladding. So you kind of build your structure frames out of timber, and then you kind of clad them with timber, but most commonly is brick. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Keeps the warmth in and keeps the heat out, like, because we have such extremes in weather, especially where I'm from. Just does a better job of insulating the house. I think that's why it's used that way. So
yeah, it says here no bears, wolves, coyotes, cougars, or mountain lions, or elk, or moose are biting to mess you up. Just snakes.
No, we've got deer. I know we've got deer.
Do people hunt?
Yeah, no.
Do people go hunting?
Hey,
Like they go hunting, like for the deer?
some people do. I've never been.
Because you guys don't have guns.
We can. They're just heavily regulated.
Got you.
You can't. I don't think unless you're a police officer, you can have a pistol. I think that's blatantly illegal. You can't have any fully automatic firearms. That's illegal. You got to go through this whole police check to get a license to get a gun. You got to go through, mandatory training and whatnot. I think to be able to carry one, you can't have criminal history, that type of thing. So it's pretty hard to get guns, but mostly they're usually just rifles that people just use for hunting. It's not like a common thing that people use for home defense. That's something that is you can get into a lot of trouble for, because crime in Australia at the moment is pretty high. So a lot of people getting broken into. So like if someone was breaking into my house and I had a gun in the safe, I can't go and shoot them, because then I would be charged for murder. Yeah, even though I was acting in self-defense of my property. It's kind of the law is you can defend yourself on an equivalent of what the perpetrator is using. So if they're using a knife, I can use something of the same sort.
Got you.
It's very different.
Wow, that is very strict. Holy crap.
So we've got no like amendments like you guys where you've got the right to bear arms. That's nothing. We don't have any that type of thing here.
Dang. But you can drink at age 18.
Can drink at 18. Yeah.
That's a trade-off.
A lot of people start drinking earlier. I going to parties when I was a bit younger and whatnot. The first drink I had, I was 15. I think the first beer I had, I was 15. So it's pretty common in Australia.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Yeah. I think I was like 17, but yeah, I've grown out of it. I'm sure you have too. Like, how often do you drink these days?
Oh, maybe once or twice a week. After a long day, I'm like,
nice.
I don't go binge drinking anymore.
No.
Or anything like that. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's very situational. Yeah, dude. Yeah. So let's wrap this up. What would you want to tell younger Sam and/or you're going to be having kids soon, probably, man? Like, what do you want them to know?
In the next 12 months, we should probably have a kid. I think in the next 12 months. So this time next year.
So
we have one.
Hypothetically, let's say your kids get to watch this episode one day. What do you want to say to them?
I guess, well, it's kind of leading into the feedback to younger me, stick to your values, believe in yourself, stand up for yourself, and life always gets better. You have hard days, but life always gets better at the end of it.
Life always gets better. Well said, bro. Cool. Where can they find you on socials?
Socials is I basically just have Instagram. I don't post anything on TikTok or anything like that. But yeah, socials is just that Sam Sparke with an E. With an E on the end of it, because a lot of people forget the E on the end of my name. So
I can't forget the E,
but
bro.
yeah, find me there. Yep.
Love it. Cool, guys. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure you like the episode, comment your biggest takeaway, share this story with somebody who needs to hear it. And yeah, Sam, you're a beast, brother. Guys.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, bro. Let's go. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one.